Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today for this special webinar, brand new content, Evolving into a Lead Advisor as a Modern Accountant. If you've not met me before or you haven't seen me for a while, my name's Michael Carter, or MC. I'm the founder of Practice Paradox. Now let's run through today an exciting new focus that's available to accountants and advisors. But first, a little bit of background to give context for you if you're new to what Paradox does for accountants and advisors. Our focus is squarely on marketing and innovation for accountants and advisors, you guys, and your business clients. Now, today I'll be sharing with you a new way that you can advise your clients and collaborate with them in ways that small business owners and entrepreneurs find extremely relevant and engaging for them, because it's about the future of their business. One of the reasons we're so passionate about marketing and innovation is the fact that marketing is about creating value, the perception of value. It's communicating value. And innovation is being smart in delivering it. I remember one of my favorite quotes, Peter Drucker, the grandfather of management education, he said, because the purpose of a business is to create a customer, the enterprise has only two functions, marketing and innovation. These produce results. Everything else is a cost. Now, we're inclined to agree with Mr. Drucker, but whether you feel it's as black and white as that or not, clearly you don't get to deliver your services until you learn to market and sell them. And if you can't deliver them in innovative, efficient, effective ways, your business model's not working. Now, we're really passionate about entrepreneurship because it transforms industries, which in turn lifts economies and improves everyone's quality of life. And I know you'll share that passion. If you're an advisor with business clients, you love the whole game of entrepreneurship and small business as well. And when you think about it, small business is the heart of the economy in lots of ways. Just economically, it provides 43% of private sector employment. So it's millions of families in Australia alone, but globally, many, many millions of families are supported by small business, whether they own them, but also the people that work in them and the people that interact with them. And in my experience as a startup entrepreneur, I've started software businesses, medical device businesses, consulting businesses, been heavily involved in innovation all of my career. I have an MBA in entrepreneurship and innovation as well. And you will know this through your experience, that most innovation comes from the small businesses, from the small and growing, from the startups, less so from the larger businesses. So it's a great space to be playing in. So what we're talking about today is how to help you grow your business clients in meaningful ways. It's fairly obvious to all of us why you'd want to do that. But to recap quickly, when they grow, you grow with them. And if you think back to a client that maybe you started with when they were only 100,000, 500,000 in revenue, and now they're 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, $20 million, you grow with them as a business as well. It's a great journey that you go on together. Now, they'll clearly love you for guiding them to success, because that's the role that accountants find themselves in. You are at the heart of business, but at the moment, not in as a meaningful way as you could be for most firms based on the statistics and benchmarking data. So the nice commercial benefits from that, your word of mouth referral rates will just go through the roof. And you got into business to make a difference in this advisory space. That's my assumption, that you wouldn't have registered and turned up to this webinar if, as a business advisor, as an accountant, you want to make a difference to people's businesses. And it's just rewarding. Now let's get an idea of who's who in the room. I've got a couple of polls today. The first one, we'd like to get an idea of what percentage of your firm's revenue is from non-compliance advisory work. So I'll just make that poll go live. So just answer the one that's at the top of the screen. What percentage of your revenue is from non-compliance advisory work? The options are greater than 90%, greater than 70%, greater than 50%, greater than 30%, greater than 10%, or don't know. So what we'll do is we'll keep going until 80% of you have voted. So that means you've got to interact here. If you don't have that data immediately at hand, follow your gut feel. And in a moment, we'll share that poll. Question 2, by the way, plenty of you are diving in and answering question 2. That's the feedback form that we'll do at the end of the webinar, just before question time. So do send your questions while we're waiting for more of you to vote in this live poll. Send your questions through. Tiffany Carter, no relation Carter, we call her, who's an account manager at Paradox, is the webinar co-pilot with me today. And Tiff's keeping an eye on the questions, and we'll run through questions at the end of today's presentation. So we're aiming to have a good 10 minutes or so at the end of today. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's just go live with that. Almost 80% of you have voted. Let's go share results. So let's see. 6% greater than 90%. No one answered greater than 70%. The greater than 50%, greater than 30. So there we go, greater than 10%. Now let's call 59% 60%. So 60% of you answered greater than 10%. Now that entirely backs up the benchmarking data from some of the incredibly thorough benchmarking surveys that are done each year by people such as Business Fitness. If you know Business Fitness and their survey, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of the accounting profession, can highly recommend you take part in that every year, or at least every second year, to get a gauge of where you sit in different areas. And I was a co-founder at Business Fitness as well, by the way. All right, so you're in the right place then, because we are going to help you grow that non-compliance base. And I'm not about to jump on the compliance is dead bandwagon. You know, I think that one's been done to death. And frankly, it's not true. It's not correct. Compliance is not dead or dying, but it is morphing. It is changing. Margins are being squeezed. We all know that. The last thing you've come to is to come to a webinar and hear that all over again. What I'd like to do is share with you a distinction that we make in dealing with progressive accountants and advisors. And we've coined the terms a lead advisor and a lag advisor. So let's look at the difference between the two. These are our beliefs and our views of what's happening in Australia, New Zealand. We're dealing with firms also in the US, Canada, UK, Ireland, the Netherlands, and in some Asian countries as well. So this is a global snapshot. So we believe they are a dying breed, and the lead advisor is the new breed, but they are vastly in the minority at the moment. But a lag advisor's focus is purely on the past, whereas a lead advisor also focuses on the future. Sure, your business clients need to know how they did last quarter, last year. We're never downplaying the importance of that. But they also need to know what are the projections for this coming month, this coming quarter, this coming year, clearly. Now, lag advisors focus on measuring lag key performance indicators. And I remember as a young consultant, I've been in the professional advisory space since I was 21. I started out life as an industrial designer, which is like a product architect. I have patents to my name, and had a lot of fun in that space. But I gravitated towards business advisory and marketing when I realized that the best products in the marketplace don't win. The best marketed products win. And as I went through my consulting career, and I learned about this concept of key performance indicators, and some are lag and some are lead, I thought, wow, how profound is that? So the lead indicators are the ones clearly that produce the results, and the lag indicators are the equivalent of the scoreboard at halftime or at full time in, let's say, football game. You can choose which code you see as football. So pretty useless for a coach to say, okay, guys, you did pretty well. The score at the end was 23-18. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Thanks for telling us that. We've already got a scoreboard. Instead, a coach will focus on the measures that lead to results. Something quite topical. Not everyone's into cricket, but with the T20 World Cup cricket that the West Indies just won for men and women, congratulations to them, there's a lead indicator that in T20 short format cricket that they monitor called dot balls, so balls that are not scored off. And they know that if they bowl X number of dot balls, that there's a greater than 80% chance that they will win the game. So they're not focused on taking wickets necessarily, they're focused on getting X number of dot balls per over. So Same in business. If you can focus as an advisor on the lead indicators, you are going to grow your clients' businesses far more effectively, and your own, of course. Image, in terms of the image of the firms, the vast majority of firms, if you Google branding for accountants, you'll find a blog post that we've written about this. And the accounting profession has an image problem in many ways. An extremely successful friend of mine who has a surveying and town planning business, he's very wealthy and very pragmatic and down to earth. He once said to me over a beer, "Oh man, the last person I would ask for advice is my accountant." And I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, I'm not going to ask my accountant for business advice." I said, "So tell me more." He goes, "Oh, well, he's still wearing the same watch he's had since he's 15. I said, "Okay, what does that mean to you?" "Oh, he doesn't take risks. He's just a bean counter." So you are probably not like that if you are in this webinar. But this entrepreneur's view is, well, I'm using him for my tax, I'm using him for my lodgements. That's all he is pigeonholed for. And one of the reasons we talk about helping accounting and advisory firms break out of their box is you are in the box of tax compliance. It's a difficult box to break out of. And the term accountant, it's set in concrete. In most cultures, there's a word association with accountant. And you need to rebrand yourselves. We're not saying to abandon the fact that you are accountants, but to attract small businesses and entrepreneurs who want to grow. In general, they're not looking for accountants. They're looking for business advisors. But I believe that accountants are in the box seat to be those advisors. Personally, I have a problem with the business coaching franchises where unqualified people who don't understand the basics of financial management and management accounting and the difference between cash flow and profit pay a franchise fee, go over to Las Vegas for a week or two, get trained, and think they can advise clients. That's your job, because you've got the solid foundation of the numbers to then build upon with the advice. Now, most firms that are struggling will take anyone who walks through the door, the good old anyone with a checkbook and a heartbeat as their client selection criteria, whereas lead advisors focus on very specific types of clients. And there's different ways you can define them, which we won't go into today. Technology, a lead advisor does use the latest tech, assuming you've got reasonable internet speeds. Now, I know some areas, some regions don't, but assuming you have reasonable internet connectivity and speeds, lead advisors have been early adopters of the latest technology around cloud and interconnected apps, and they're using the latest technology to run their business, and then that emanates through to their image and how they're perceived by their clients. We've got firms that we've advised that are using certain platforms on their website, such as WordPress, connecting that with their marketing automation and CRM systems, such as Infusionsoft, that then connects through to their appointment booking system, such as Appointment Core, which integrates through tools like Workato through to Xero on a line-by-line basis. They've eliminated data entry in their business. They're running really technically savvy businesses. Lag advisors, still running the same old technology they were running 10 years ago. Personality of a lead advisor is they will tend to be more people-oriented than task-oriented. Merrill Reed's social profile is a tool that you can access on our website for free. If you look at any blog post on our site, you'll see a what's your profile little square graphic. You can click that and do your profile. You can put all your staff through it and get measures across 4 different areas that will give you an indication of whether you're more task-oriented, which means you prefer to look at a screen, a spreadsheet, an app, compared to looking at a person's face and having a meeting. A task-oriented lag advisor sees a client drop in as an interruption. A people-oriented lead advisor sees a client drop in as an opportunity, as something great. And the accounting profession is mainly full of task-oriented people, high analyticals, number crunchers, bean counters, as the cliches go. Marketing. Most lag advisors do little or no marketing. Lead advisors are active because when you want to deliver more advisory services, no governments of the world are making business owners do future-focused planning, are they? They're making them report on the past and comply in that regard. So advisory services must be marketed, must be sold. That's all there is to it. Whereas compliance services, your clients just keep rocking up year after year after year. They're sticky clients, but eroding margins, not the brightest future if your business is focused 90% or more in that compliance space. Speaking of which, Lag advisors see compliance as their core service, and with 90% revenue, you would, wouldn't you? So to use an analogy, compliance is their burger. Let's say McDonald's example, it's the main thing. Whereas for lead advisors, and looking at the list, if I look down to my other screen here, and looking at some of the people that have logged in today, I know some firms that are doing vast majority of their work around advisory and compliance. When you've got the bookkeeping quality control under control in terms of you're either doing it in-house or partnering with people who do it well so that business owners have the up-to-date data. When it comes to the actual compliance, outside of tax planning, it's pretty rudimentary, isn't it? So some firms like that are starting to almost just include compliance with the overall bundle of services and not charge any extra for it. So really, that's not their burger, it's just their fries on the side is the compliance. It's, oh yeah, we'll lodge your tax and do your I returns and do your BAS or whichever country you're in terms of the different terminology for compliance, but it's not their main game at all. Again, not to downplay the importance of compliance, it's got to be done right. Branding's usually very traditional for lag advisor, whereas for the new firms, when you look at that branding for accountants blog post, you'll see a number of firm names and logos that we've advised firms around. Firms like Advise Accountants who are on today's webinar, GrowthWise, Change Accountants, all of those firms we've helped really modernize how they're perceived in terms of first impressions in the marketplace. Revenue mix. Now, at this point, based on the data before of 59% greater than 10% and another 24% greater than 30%, most are falling in this 80% compliance revenue mix. Once you get more than half of your revenue as advisory, you've evolved into a lead advisor in our view. Now, this is a bit of a blanket statement, but really, if you're a sausage factory compliance business and you're holding on to that gravy train called compliance, because for many of you, it still is profitable, it's efficient, you can delegate it, it's probably not your passion. It's probably not something that your clients go, oh man, I love my accountant. He's incredible. She's great. She keeps all our lodgements up to date. She even did our BAS last quarter. Clearly, it's a grudge purchase. So it's just transactional. Whereas when you're a lead advisor, you have a more transformational focus rather than just transactional. And you are in it for the meaning. And I love it when we hear people that we work with at Paradox say, I actually have the fire in my belly again, MC, the wind in my sails. I'm actually loving being an advisor to businesses again. And it's been a perfect storm of technology that's allowed massive efficiencies in the compliance end to free up capacity that if you can market and sell it, you can then deliver advisory services. A great phrase from Dr. Greg Timbrell, who's at the Queensland University of Technology. He commented once, plenty of people can do the engagement, not many can get the engagement in terms of land it, sell it. So true. Now, a lag advisor, clients probably feel neutral about you as an advisor if you're focused on compliance. As a lead advisor, they'll love you because you are taking them to a better place and a better life. And for the firm themselves, lag advisors have either no strategy or an unclear strategy. And we know that by surveying now over 500 firms through our marketing gap analysis. And by the way, if you tick any of the options in the feedback form, the last poll we'll do today, just before question time, we will step you through a marketing gap analysis. And in that, one of the questions is, in a sentence, what is your business strategy? And over 90% of people who answer that do not enter a strategy, they enter an objective. And an objective to grow by X% or to reach a certain revenue level. That is not a strategy. That is an objective or an outcome. Whereas lead advisors have a crystal clear strategy in terms of who they're targeting, what they're offering, importantly, what they're not going to offer, what their business model is, the focus on scalability and leverage that we'll talk about in a moment. Now, you know, the word proactive, we all know what it means. It's actually a fairly modern word. It didn't come into use until about the 1960s in any great degree. There's a website that shows you this stuff. Anyway, it's the opposite of being reactive. And when you're doing compliance, by nature of that, you can be reactive, but proactive doesn't mean that much. Like, what does proactive look like? To me, it's a generic motherhood statement like, be good, eat well, stay active. Yeah, give me some specifics, because you can be proactive around compliance, can't you? If you proactively communicate with your clients and they didn't initiate the communication, you're being proactive. But if you're being proactive around compliance, that's better than being reactive, but you're not adding that much value to your clients. This is a quote from Jay Abraham, which I learned from as a mentor in my early 20s, which is about 8 years ago, no, a bit longer than that. The people are silently begging to be led. People are silently begging to be led. Now, that means they won't ask you to lead. You need to lead first, which takes courage, it takes daring, then they'll follow. No one is going to sit in front of you, and we're talking about your business clients today, and go, gee, I really wish you'd educate me and open my eyes to things I'm not even aware that I don't know at the moment. It's not going to happen. But when you start showing leadership, it's like the Pied Piper, then people will follow. But if you think, oh, look, if only I could get some clients on board with this advisory work, then I'd really focus on it and do some more. It's not going to happen. So people are silently begging to be led. There's another quote that most people lead lives of quiet desperation. And you'll know this. Most small businesses, on the small micro end, if they're not successful, they're just paying their owners a wage or salary. And it's 10 times harder to run a business than to be a wage and salary earner. So they are leading lives of quiet desperation. They might have the kids in the various schools that they want and have a certain house or drive a car, whatever they see as the marks of success. But when you look at their balance sheet, that they might be 90 days away from a very bad place. So your clients, just assume they want leadership. And sadly, the accounting profession hasn't shown it. The coaching, business coaching sector, industry, if you call it that, would not exist at all if at management accounting and business advisory. So let's look at what a lead advisor is. A lead advisor focuses on helping business clients in 4 specific areas that we'll run through. Now, we're going to run through a lot of content now. Some sections I'll run through fast. Some of you will like that, some of you won't. And the areas that we'll run through fast, we will run through in greater depth in future webinars. So the first is leverage. This is one of the single most exciting concepts in life. It applies everywhere. And we don't mean leverage how it might be used in the financial or financing sector of like loan to equity sort of ratios or anything like that. We're talking about the fact that it allows you to amplify your efforts. A quote, I love this one by Archimedes, give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it and I shall move the world. Because leverage, if you look at that as an analogy, is that allows you to lift the car to replace the tire. And when you identify areas in your life and in your business where you can apply the same amount of effort, but through leverage, be able to exert the same amount of effort and amplify the outputs, that's when you achieve truly remarkable results. Now, we believe that the primary focus of an effective business advisor is to identify and help improve the leverage points in your clients' businesses. And leverage points are very specific things. The leverage point in a business, and there are multiple, but at any one point in time, there's the one main leverage point. We call it the next leverage point. So the leverage point is the measure in a business that, when improved, provides the greatest result for the least investment of time, money, and/or energy. When you get good at identifying these as a business advisor, that's when you'll become a guru to them and have a long list of amazing case studies to share with prospective clients and therefore attract businesses that want to grow. A leverage point is always a lead indicator. It is never a lag indicator. So as an advisor, imagine, let's say you had an external advisor and they said, look, you've really got to get your revenue up. You've really got to improve your margins. You've really got to, improve your sales, let's say if you're in retail. Yeah, but how? So the key is to go upstream from the lag indicators and find what produced that result. And it's usually something plus or minus or multiplied or divided by that. And I'll share some examples in a moment. So the lead indicator produces the results, and the lag indicator is clearly simply a measure of those results. Now, financials are crucial. They've got to be done well. They've got to be up to date. They've got to be compliant. but they are clearly the scoreboard. They're the results. Lead indicators, on the other hand, are typically marketing and operational measures. Because if you look at a business, one simple way of looking at a business is market, sell, deliver. A business needs to attract people who want what they've got. They then need to interact and communicate with them in a combination these days of online, digital, and in real life as humans. And then that needs to be delivered. And financials are the results of market, sell, deliver. So these are the metrics that lead advisors love to talk to their clients about. And if you're calling yourself a business advisor and you only report and discuss lag indicators with your business clients, you're pretty much, I'd call it a business reporter. You're not a business advisor. You're just like a reporter in the media, explaining and conveying, here's what happened. Not at all a business advisor. Now, the challenge with that, and you know this, is that such accountants increasingly become less valued, because business owners are coming to know that if their bookkeeping's up to date and accurate and correct, which probably means for a small business they didn't do it themselves directly, depending what staff they have, of course. If they have that and they use cloud-based accounting and then they connect to the real-time dashboarding and reporting tools, they can get some really impressive reports without too much human involvement from anyone else. So business owners are becoming increasingly savvy to this. I see in 5 years' time, every business owner will just know, yeah, well, why wouldn't I have a real-time dashboard on my smartphone or iPad showing me my results? I don't have to wait till the end of the financial year or the quarter or lodge in my BAS. Here it is right now. So here are the new metrics of modern business. So these are not replacing the discussion of financials. These are a new conversation for you to have. So lead advisors understand the new metrics. I'll share some examples shortly. They understand them for their own business, and they understand them in business in general. And they help their business clients understand them. And then they help their business clients measure and monitor these new metrics. Then once you measure and monitor, there are conversations to be had. They can help their business clients improve these measures, perhaps not directly, but by acting as the advisory hub and steering them in the direction of people who are specialists in other areas to help improve those lead indicators. So these are the type of conversations. That friend of mine that I mentioned earlier that said, the last person I'd be asking for business advice is my accountant. People like that want to have conversations around these lead measures. They're entrepreneurs. They are looking to grow their asset. They're looking to improve their cash flow. And lead indicators is the only thing that lights their fire. A quick example here, I could share many examples. For example, I could share what I did in my last year at Business Fitness when I took over the marketing there. And we more than tripled the revenue in 1 year when I took over the marketing from a fellow co-founder, Rob Nixon. You may have heard of him. I took over the marketing. I applied leverage. I applied content-driven marketing of webinars, ebooks, web meetings, new technology. And with one salesperson and a sales coordinator compared to a team of 5 salespeople the year before, we increased revenue by over 300% without spending one dime on traditional marketing or advertising, and spending a lot less. We had $1 million overhead on that sales team before they sold anything per annum before I came in and innovated. But here's an example from very early on in my consulting career. I was at a business called Results Corporation, and it's based in Brisbane. It was operating nationally, focusing on direct and measurable marketing for small businesses. So early 90s, no email, no web. So back then it was all, it was direct mail. Faxes were new and innovative. It was a different time, but the principles still apply. So Ronnie, the owner of 2 Jet Set franchise outlets in Perth in Western Australia, came to us as a marketing agency and said, hey guys, I need to grow my revenue. I need more inquiries. I need more sales. So most business owners, when they're uneducated around these things, would expect that to be achieved by what? By advertising back then, and weekend paper advertising. So she said, look, here are my ads. Help me improve my ads, and that's what I want to pay you for. Now, as a lead advisor back then, looking for these leverage points, I said, okay, well, what's your current conversion rate of inquiries? There's no point generating more inquiries if you've got a leaky bucket. And she said, look, our conversion rate's 80%. Don't waste my time. She was pretty strong-willed, and she was more than twice my age. And she said, look, MC, don't worry about that. I want more leads. I said, look, what is the conversion rate? She said 80%. I said, let's put in a measuring system on this. And she was really frustrated, so much so that she went and spoke to my employer and tried to get a different advisor within the firm assigned to her. So she wasn't very happy about it. And I put in place a measurement system, because they had none, for their walk-in and telephone inquiries to make sure, and I can't go into how we did that now, but to make sure that every inquiry was recorded so we could see the conversion rate. And the 80%, I've since learned over the years that whenever anyone says 80%, like if you ever say to me, oh yeah, our conversion rate of inquiries to new clients is 80%, it's usually one of these wet finger in the wind estimates, gut feels, and they're usually wrong because people can tend to forget the fish that got away. Anyway, so we put the measurement in place, and then after the first month, in a telephone consultation, me sitting in Brisbane, Ronnie sitting in Perth, I said, okay, so what's the data say after the first month? And she went 80%. And I went, okay, well, it confirms what you said. Cool. At least we know. And I felt a bit crestfallen. But then she said, no, MC, I said 18%, not 80%. And she was very sheepish about it. I said, okay. And I was high-fiving myself, almost did a cartwheel, but it would be dangerous in an office environment. But with 18%, that's exciting, isn't it? Because you can't double 80%, but you can double 18%. So we identified conversion rate of inquiries as the leverage point to address. And we did a number of things, about 3 things to address that, in terms of their sales process, the way they handled inquiries, and the whole workflow effectively. And over a period of about 6 months initially, we improved that conversion rate from 18% to 34% without spending $1 more on advertising or even improving it as yet, because that was an available leverage point to her. Then once we'd optimized that, after a few months, it had plateaued off, and that was about as good as it was getting. Then we identified the next leverage point, which for her business was the number of items per sale. And again, I asked Ronnie, what do you think the number of items per sale is at the moment? She said, oh, it's at least 3 or 4. Whenever someone comes in and says, I want to go to London, I always sell them travel insurance and ask them about accommodation and shows and car hire and at least insurance. She said, everyone should get insurance. When we looked at her other 2 sales consultants, they weren't selling a thing to anyone. They were selling 1 item. Across the business, across the 3 of them, it was averaging 1.1 items per sale. So 1 out of 10 people who were booking, let's say, a flight to London, 1 out of 10 was getting the insurance, which Ronnie felt was a moral obligation. The parallels here, and I'm sure you're seeing them, with the accounting profession are enormous, because many accountants, lag advisors, have a belief, oh, look, if a client wants something, they'll ask for it. Not so. That's what her sales consultants believe. So once we identified what it was, we then implemented simple systems and also addressed some mindset and beliefs around the sales consultants. And we fairly readily and easily almost tripled that to 3.1. So here's a business that, and this is in 1990s dollars. I should do a CPI on this and put it in today's dollars. But back in early 90s, so not taking inflation into account, we took her revenue from 800,000 to over 3 mil. It was about 3.4 annualized monthly in the course of 18 months by addressing 2 leverage points. She was extremely happy, and she was happy to stay with us there. So that's an example of how, when you learn to identify, measure, monitor, and then have conversations with your business clients, you can make dramatic improvements. Now, the questions that entrepreneurs love to be asked by savvy advisors are things like, where's your business's next leverage point? Assuming you've educated them to that, which we'll come to. What metric in the business right now would have the greatest impact? Don't know? All right, let's identify that together. How's your website traffic? Is it healthy? Is it growing? If you're thinking, why would an accountant ask a business client that? Exactly. A lag advisor won't go anywhere near that. A lead advisor is looking at the business's systems and flows in general. With the lag indicators up front, before lead inquiries, website traffic is one of them. So is that traffic growing? Do you know what are people searching on to find your site? And are you targeting those search terms with your SEO? And they'll be going, oh my goodness, I've died and gone to heaven. I've been waiting for a business advisor and some advice like this for years. That's the usual feedback that lead advisors get once they start having these conversations. Just some more examples. I'll run through these very quickly. Is your website, that traffic, are you converting it? Are people actually becoming email subscribers or social media connections? Is your website working? What are your conversion goals? What do you want people to do when they come to your website? Has that been set up in Google Analytics? Again, this is all stuff that at the moment you're thinking, if you are thinking this, wow, that's over my head. This is why Paradox exists, to educate you about these modern metrics so that you can have these conversations with your business clients and help them dramatically grow their business through leverage points so that they don't have to invest a lot of time, money, or energy. Other questions. What's your sales pipeline look at the moment? How many leads? What's the value, the dollar value of the opportunities you have in your pipeline? Do you have a defined sales process? How are you tracking your leads and opportunities across these stages? How many leads or inquiries are you getting each week at the moment? Are you happy with that? What are your current best lead sources in terms of volume, in terms of cost per lead? The average small business owner would shrug at most of these. A savvy one will be able to answer a few of them. A switched on one will have the data and be able to tell you straight away, or have a dashboard a click away to tell them. More examples. Which lead sources do you think have the best potential for ramping up if we really focused on them? What is your conversion rate of inquiries into sales or quotes? Are you happy with that? What's your average customer or client spend per year? Is there potential to grow that? Is there scope to increase prices? Are you bundling or packaging your products and services together? What are you doing to invite your customers back to buy again? And this is a great one. Are you tracking your net promoter score with your customers, which is their likelihood of referring? No, well, let's put a system in place to track that. Knowing how your clients feel is a crucial lead indicator for success. And they're all simple tools that we can put you, and you then put your clients onto to track all of this. Could give you many more dozens of examples. On screen now is an example of a marketing metrics dashboard that we build for accounting and advisory firms, and that we are now also building for small businesses, where we can put on the one screen the main metrics from their website, from the email newsletters, and their social media, so they don't have to go logging into 6 different places to get an idea of what's working and what's not, because that probably won't happen. And then it sends them an email with a link each month saying, click here and have a look at the data. And there are so many opportunities. Every time you look at a marketing metrics dashboard, we spot things that are broken, which is an opportunity. So, some businesses, we see the website's not converting, or that it has a high bounce rate. This one here, we've anonymized, we've blurred out some things here. That bounce rate of 76.8%, that means over 3/4 of the people going to the website are leaving without going to any more pages than the page they arrived on. So that means the website might look pretty, but it's not actually converting, it's not selling, it's a waste of money, frankly. So there's all sorts of data that's available, and there's easy conversations off the back of it to have. You can look at if they're using, say, MailChimp to send out the e-newsletters. You can look at, are they doing it consistently? What's the open rate? What's the click-through rate? I had a conversation with a business out of Melbourne just yesterday about this very topic. And they had a good open rate, but they had a low click-through rate. And when we looked at the click-through rate, we thought, okay, what might be causing that? And we identified a very clear issue in the layout of the e-newsletter that was not inviting people, obviously enough, to click through to the full blog posts. So that's just some quick visual examples. So leverage is number one for a lead indicator. Number two is education. We're passionate about education for a couple of reasons. You may have heard me talk about the value-add chasm. Very simply, it's this. When you look in the benchmarking data, such as the good, the bad, do you want to do more value-add advisory work with your clients? 9 out of 10, I'm rounding it slightly, 9 out of 10 say, yes, we want to. When you look at the revenue mix around non-compliance, which we did earlier, 1 out of 10 actually achieves it. So what is going on? Out of those 9, 8 are failing. So clearly, the accounting profession as a whole has an issue. Imagine if surgeons or pilots had that sort of success rate in their intentions. There'd probably be some inquiries into it. So what makes a difference for the one that crosses the value-add chasm? We call it a chasm. Note it's not a canyon. It's not wide, but it is deep once you go down it. But if you can get over that and achieve it, the difference is quite simple. It's the ability to communicate value. So the ability to communicate value. And that appears in many ways. It's marketing. That's communicating value one-to-many. It's selling. That's communicating value one-to-one. But largely, it's educating. it's educating. And the way we see it is your advisory services are the footbridge across the chasm to take your clients from where they are now to where they could be. And it's your goal to educate them to what they could be achieving in their business with your advisory services and with your education. Because if they don't see a gap between where they are now and where they could be, if there's no chasm, there's no need for a footbridge. And if your advisory services are the footbridge, you've got nothing to sell, or you've got a lot of footbridge stock in your inventory unsold. And that really pains me that, as Greg Timbrell said, that quote earlier, plenty of people can do the engagement. Like, you know how to do advisory work. It's a whole lot harder to get the advisory work. So once you learn to communicate that value, you will bridge that. How do you do it? Very simply. You need to first acknowledge that your clients don't know what they don't know. They are blissfully ignorant around, some of them, the difference between cash flow and profit, or the importance for weekly metrics as opposed to annual or quarterly or even monthly in their business. So if they don't even know what they don't even know about running a business successfully, and to me, being a small business owner, it's a bit like parenting. They're really hard things to do, but they're really easy to become. So people often, when they start a business, don't know what they're getting themselves into. They don't know what they don't know. So the only solution is to educate them. And that's your role. It's the second of the four activities as a lead advisor, is to educate them. So you need to do a few simple things. You need to consistently be publishing educational articles on your website's blog. If you're not doing that consistently, you've got to start doing it, and you need help. That sounds bad. You need help, but you do need to resource that. And that's why we have our article service to help people consistently publish thought-provoking, thought leadership content on your blog. Now, putting things on your blog is not enough. You need to drive traffic, so visitors, to your blog posts. And the easiest and best ROI way to do that is email newsletters. So you'd need to send newsletters to your list of clients and your marketing database as a whole to promote those articles. And while you're at it, it's very simple to do social media updates out on LinkedIn and other social media platforms to let other people that might not be on your email list know about these articles. And this process to marketing is simple, efficient, and it works and is measurable. But you can't stop there, because where the rubber hits the road, or where clients, your clients, start to get excited about the value-add advisory services that you can help them implement, is events. There's only so much you can do remotely over the screen. So by events, I mean the traditional ones where you invite people in to your premises, or you might book a venue, a local RSL or seminar facility. But if you're going to do that, you should also do webinars, because webinars are easier than live events. You've already developed the content and the slide deck to do it. So it's the same content, just delivered online. And then you can reach people far and wide, nationally and beyond. And also use videos. Videos can be recordings of your webinars. They can be talk to camera videos. They can be screencasts of tips on how to use different apps and reviews, etc. Education and events are crucial. Now, I'm not going to run through in detail the content marketing cycle, but there's one step in here, which is, once you have got a clear strategy, you've established your digital presence, you're publishing content, you're attracting targeted traffic, you're converting people who come to your website onto your email list, which means you're growing your database. You're then using automation, marketing automation, to communicate specifically with people about what it is they're interested in. You nurture them with education. At some point, you need to invite them to take action. So that's offers and events. Now, if you're not already doing this, again, start doing it, because that's when people will put up their hand and go, actually, I want to implement that. So your client education approach needs to be planned. It can't be ad hoc. You need to commit to a quarterly or monthly cycle on that. You need to resource it, because there's content to be created, there's decision who's going to present, and event logistics, just promoting it, recording registrations. So you need to decide who in-house within your business is going to do that, and are there third-party providers that can help you do that as well. So that's education. This next area, I believe, is the key to making your advisory services scalable. There's been a lot of, I think, well-meaning, well-intentioned advice to the accounting professions, people selling business coaching franchises and stuff where they say, just bolt on this business coaching division to your accounting firm and then you'll be a business coach. It doesn't work as simply as that, because you need to have advisory services that are scalable. And all of us want accountability in our lives to respected, trusted third parties. Otherwise, the personal trainer industry, to use an analogy, would not exist, because we could all get up early and exercise if we wanted to. But having someone to meet, someone to hold you accountable is useful. So you need to accept that when it comes to your advisory services in this business advisory space, if you can't scale it, our advice, don't sell it, because you're only exacerbating a bottleneck that already exists. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is the very first time I've run through this content today. As I mentioned, all new content. We're going to go 10 minutes over, but I'll keep flying through. Now, the value pyramid, I've written a series of blog posts on this on our website. And internally at Paradox, we brainstormed, why is it that most accountants have failed with delivering business advisory in a profitable, scalable way? And if you look at the different rungs of value that you can add to a business, the very lowest rung is real-time data. It is the foundation. But to do that, you only need technicians to do that, and technology. But up-to-date numbers is important. And then the next level up is compliance. It's the basics. It's got to be done. If you don't have these things in place, well, there's no basis for advisory work, is there? But to do compliance, you only need senior technicians. And as far as the business owners go, it's just helping them meet their obligations. Most of you, based on the data in that poll earlier, are stopping here. The next level of clarity is where you're aiding the focus of your business clients. Now, what we're seeing is firms are using tools like Fathom, Spotlight, My Profit C, My Cash Flow Story, Calxa. There's a whole bunch of great tools with different focuses around these areas. But if you don't sell it and you want to provide it, firms are just giving it away as a value add. Maybe, absorbing it into the pricing of their compliance. But it can be sold, and we show firms how to do it. But even with delivering management reports and dashboards, support staff can build those. And for the business owners, you're simplifying their numbers because they can't read balance sheets and P&Ls. They need to have them interpreted for them. But stopping at clarity, those dashboards and reports don't mean anything. We know this from our own market research, from focus groups and client advisory boards we've done for accounting firms, is they still need to have a conversation about that. You might get all excited about the pretty graphs and sliders and dials and charts, but they only want one or two things that they need to focus on. So that's where commentary comes in. So this is where you need intelligent advisors to provide insights. What do the numbers mean? So here you're going up the value pyramid. You're going up these layers of providing more value. And here we are now at the accountability. This is a massive opportunity for firms, because here you don't need incredibly experienced, gray hair, as it's often called, people with 20, 30 years experience under the belt to deliver this. But you do need assertive advisors. And this is where you can aid the execution or the follow through of your business clients on moving and improving their metrics. So accountability-based conversations are ones where the advisors are not providing the answers, but they have a framework. We call it an accountability-based advisory framework. And you can have people with, as long as they're assertive and they can have conversations with business owners and then hold them accountable to their actions, they only need a few, maybe 5 years experience under their belt, not 10, 15, 20. Now, there's a very detailed, very long blog post on our website about this topic. It's actually, at the moment, as I speak, the most recent blog post about how to offer accountability-based advisory services. Beautiful opportunity. And even if we just took you to there, you then qualify as a lead advisor, because the last two layers of strategy, where you need experienced gurus to provide known strategies that you've tried before in another business and you know it'll work, they're experience-based suggestions. Harder to scale and leverage that. You can, but it's harder. And lastly, innovation are novel strategies. They're new strategies where you need creative geniuses, because they're creativity-based suggestions. They're new, where they've gone, I take what we did in that industry and I take what we did in that industry, we combine them. Let's try that. That's innovation. Frankly, that's fun. That's one of the skills that we have at Paradox, but that's hard to scale. So look at how you're going to go through clarity, commentary, and accountability. So to successfully provide those advisory services, you need the right advisors on board. If you've got a bunch of number crunching, meek, high analytical, task-oriented advisors who prefer to look at a screen, like we talked before, or a set of numbers rather than a set of eyeballs. You need to only put the right advisors in front of your clients. You need that accountability-based advisory framework. Then internally, you do need a training and mentoring system for your advisory team. And this is what we're talking about today in developing for your support system to have that framework and to guide and nurture and develop the team. And lastly, you never get to deliver what you never learn to sell in these areas. So you need the ability to market and sell your advisory services clearly. Now, lastly, direction. We all need direction. And I know, and looking at the list of people online live at the moment, you love this stuff. You're very good at doing it. So providing to your business clients one-page plans. For me, even though I've got an MBA in entrepreneurship and new venture management, and I've twice represented Australia in the world final of a competition for business planning and capital raising, where we went over to University of Texas in Austin to pitch to venture capitalists. These were the typical, 25-page business plan with 15 pages of detailed appendices on financials, etc. They're rubbish. They don't work. A one-page plan in today's world is what every business needs, and needs to be updated and with forecasts for the next 90 days around cash flow, around a projected P&L. And yes, while you're at it, provide the real-time dashboards and weekly reports, because that's easy. Tools like Crunchboards, wow. You can tailor up different templates for different types of businesses. Put the financial indicators in front of them, but importantly, those lead indicators that are non-financial in nature, those marketing and operational ones, because then you can steer the ship. You don't check whether the ship's on course every few hours. The captain checks constantly. So we believe that metrics in a business should be measured weekly, because direction and correction is needed. And you can develop systems that you can scale and leverage and delegate through an advisory team to provide this to your clients. And that's what's being a lead advisor is all about: leverage, education, accountability, and direction. I want to share with you now a mission that we're really excited about at Paradox. It lights our fire. Our mission is to help 1,000 accountants and business advisors each year to help 10 small businesses, so 10 businesses within your client base, to double their revenue, triple their profits, work less, and smile more. So we know on the work less and smile more that people in small business work their butts off, not always for the rewards that are available if they identified and leveraged the key areas of their business. So our mission is to help you do that. And we'll be sharing more detail in another webinar around that. But if you think about that, that's 10,000 families impacted positively around the world. And here is how we're going to do that. We've developed the Modern Marketing Implementer. It's a brand new system. It's a resource and a tool for business advisors to use with their business clients. So the Modern Marketing Implementer program will be superseding our Modern Marketing Academy. Now, it launches on Wednesday, 18 May. So just jot that one down. It launches on 18 May. What is it? It's an interactive marketing implementation checklist. So it's not just a checklist of, oh, do all these things. It's actually interactive in that it detects, and you can tell it when certain things have been implemented across each of the 10 areas of the content marketing cycle, which was the green slide I showed you earlier: a strategy, presence, publish, attract, convert, automate, nurture, invite, sell, and onboard. We know for a fact through our own surveys that the number one question that accounting firms have around marketing is, I don't know where to start. And if they have started, I don't know what to do next. And that's driven us to develop this system of a Modern Marketing Implementer. Notice that we're capitalizing the mentor part, because guiding you and being a mentor is part of it. It's not just about the app, but you'll never again have to wonder, what should you do next? It's listed out in incredible detail with rich multimedia and training. So excitingly, it's also a tool for you to collaborate with your business clients. You can help them focus and implement and grow their business, because you'll be on the journey together. You'll be walking your talk. You'll be able to show them, yeah, look, in this area, on this lead indicator, here's what we did, and let's look at implementing something similar for you. Implementer also sends you progress scores each week via email, a little progress bar across each of those 10 areas. And when you implement significantly across each of those areas of strategy, presence, etc., you are going to be smashing it. You'll be leaving your competition in the dust. So that's across all those 10 areas. And that will help you get very focused. We also, as part of Implementer, present you with weekly metrics on your business's digital marketing performance, on things like keyword rankings, the SEO-related things, how well your website's performing. Incredibly valuable information to have as a modern business owner, not just as an accountant and business advisor. So a huge part of it is the training and education, is to turn you as accountants and advisors into lead advisors, and it will allow you to help your small business clients in a more practical, detailed, granular, because to us, detail is where the rubber hits the road. Motherhood generic statements, they might make people feel warm and fuzzy in a seminar, but they're not actionable unless they're specific. So those weekly analytic reports, you'll then be able to tap into 2 member-only support forums. Now, one will be just for you guys, just for advisors. So you can ask questions that you might not want your clients to see that you're asking. And another forum will be for small business owners and advisors together. And we're going to build this community of people who are small business entrepreneurs and advisors who are implementing the very latest in marketing and innovation. So on the 18th of May, attend the launch webinar that you'll be hearing about. We'll also share with you a foundation member offer, for foundation members being the first intake into the program. And you'll receive that comprehensive support system for being a lead advisor. All right, so earlier you already answered for us, which of these would you like more information about? The Modern Marketing Implementer program. And we'll go 10 minutes over for those who want to ask questions, and I'll bring up the question list in a moment here. So tick the box or email us at grow@, which you'd like more information about. Modern Marketing Implementer program is the new program I just explained to you, which will enable you to become a lead advisor and involve your small business clients in growing them as a business and also as a business owner and entrepreneur mentally as well. I mentioned briefly some other things today, such as our blog article service, where we can help you be publishing educational thought leadership content onto your website. On Friday, within Slack, we use a collaboration platform in Paradox called Slack. It's like instant messaging within each other because we're across about 5 different time zones at Paradox. And one of the people that we're doing the blog article service is targeting cafes and restaurants in their area, which I won't mention. And whenever we do a blog post and we publish it, we check the keyword rankings. And they were nowhere in Google when they started. They're now number 1 and 2 for their search, which is domination. Social media update service is where we publish for you content curation, which means sharing of the latest articles around small business, managing a business better, technology as it applies to small business and investors. And these services are part of what we call automatic marketing, because you don't have to lift a finger. It's automatic. We can do it all for you, though you can approve things and get involved if you want, but you don't have to. Likewise with the email newsletter service, if you're not at least emailing out using a proper emailing system like MailChimp or Campaign Monitor or ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft, heaven forbid you're using Outlook and blind, BCCing everyone in. I shudder to think. But you need to be promoting the content that you've published in the preceding few weeks to your list every month. You'll get a spike in website traffic. You'll get people moving from not knowing what they don't know to getting to a point where, yeah, I've been managing my cash flow off the bank account balance or whatever the topic might have been. Or even if you just want help with marketing your business in general, one of our account managers can take you through our marketing gap analysis program and just work out which services we provide are a fit, because not all of them necessarily will be. Okay, now let's see. Looking at the Q&A, I haven't seen any questions come through, but some have come through, I believe, through chat. Okay, so Simon, has asked a question. We're in the Marketing Academy and loving it, and we're working hard to grow our advisory work. One barrier is pricing these services and having belief in our skills and abilities. It's a tough, so I'm reading out Simon's question now. It's a tough hurdle when some team members are set in their ways and clients are used to the traditional pricing model, which Simon, I assume, means time and billing, the ticking clock and accumulating WIP and then writing off maybe a portion of it and then billing. I assume that's what you mean. I know it's a complex issue, but do you have any suggestions for rocketing this process? Absolutely, we do. And there are actually people on this call. If I look down and see there's people that we've helped implement this. One of the things that you'll learn from us as you go through the academy, and for those who are not in the academy and are going to come on board with ImpleMENTOR, is you need to not just package your services around those 3 service level packages that's been, gold, silver, bronze, whatever it is. That's useful. But what's far more important is what we call a ways we work with you diagram, which is a simple infographic that might have 4, 5, 6, 7 maximum components, icons to it, that summarizes the journey that you will take a client on. And that's really important to do, because the first thing you need to do in order to break out of the compliance box is to educate your clients to the fact that getting the first 2 layers that we talked about before around real-time data, so that's getting the data right, cloud accounting, bookkeeping, and then compliance. If that's all they see you as, you've got a challenge, and you need tools to help communicate that. And people tend to think visually. A lot of people think in pictures, and that helps them work out, oh, okay, so what you've been doing for me all these years is just that part of these 5. I get it. Oh, you can help us work out where we want to go in our business and the gap between where we are now. Oh, you can do management reporting for us. Oh, you can sit down with us quarterly or monthly. Oh, you can actually help us with the financial planning side and accumulating wealth, or whatever it is that the services you are. So the ways we work with you is crucial. The other thing, Simon, that you mentioned, and let me just see, Tiffany, if you can see Simon in the list, and he's happy to be unmuted, you can promote him to panelist if he wants to talk to this. But one of the wisest things I've ever heard said is, don't teach elephants to dance. It wastes your time and it annoys the elephant. So even though circuses over the years, which are now kind of banned, the old style, teach animals to do things that nature didn't intend, even though they could train an elephant to stand on its back 2 legs and do all that sort of stuff, that's a lot of hard work. That analogy in an accounting firm is, if you have attracted to your business high analyticals with low assertiveness, they will, sorry to say it, but they will never make good advisors. There might be some rare exceptions if you put them through assertiveness training, public speaking training, sales training, communication skills, and mentor them over the years. They can grow in their confidence and assertiveness to do it. But I highly recommend you put everyone in your business through our What's Your Profile tool that I mentioned earlier, because you'll get 4 scores with a maximum score of 14 across analytical, amiable, expressive, and driver. And depending on someone's profile would indicate, it's not prescriptive. Whenever someone has a profile like this, it's just a basis for conversation. However, it's very common for firms to have, let's say a firm had 5 accountants. It's likely that 4 of them would just prefer to crunch out the numbers in the back and don't want to have to talk to the clients. In which case, you just focus on the one advisor and design your workflow and your communication system so that they are the lead advisor and they meet with the clients and they have a back room of people that help crunch the numbers. But my message to firms is to start hiring on people skills as much as you do on technical skills, so you can attract those people. We're really passionate about that. And that's why we get behind people like Praxis out of the US. That's Praxis, which is an internship program. It's a wonderful tool for attracting into your business people that want to enter industry but are a bit disillusioned with traditional education as it stands in many areas in traditional universities. But you need to have the right people on board, so you need to know who's who in the zoo for starters, Simon. Let's see. Simon, I might just click here because we've got a couple of minutes left to go to the 10 minutes over. Let's see. I've just clicked promote the panelist. And Simon, you can unmute yourself if you want to, Simon, and talk. I'll do it. Unmute audio if you'd like to shed any more light on the challenge that you're having there. You there, Simon? You may or may not have the ability to, you might not have a microphone attached, in which case that's cool. Thought I would give it a go. Cool. All right. So imagine you've got that question and you're a member, well, you're already a member of the Academy. So to get within a community where you can ask those questions and say, hey, how do I address those pricing issues? And it's that question alone, Simon, is a multifaceted issue. And you will discover as you go through the Academy in-depth videos, Module 5 and Module 6 address how do you package your services and how do you sell your services. So thanks everyone for logging in today to join me with the first ever sharing of how to evolve into a lead advisor as a modern accountant. You can see that it's far more than be proactive. It's about leverage, education, accountability, and direction, and doing this with more than 50% of your business clients and generating more than 50% of your revenue moving forward. So by that, we mean grow your revenue, grow your clients' revenue, and have an advisory business that is not just more profitable and a higher growth rate, but far more satisfying and meaningful to you as an accountant and advisor. So thanks for spending time with us today. We look forward to speaking with you, guiding you through our marketing gap analysis process, and to seeing you evolve into being a lead advisor. Bye for now.